Were you like, this business is over?
We didn't know. We were shut for 18 months without $1 of revenue. Honestly, I left every class I took feeling worse about myself. What I should look like this in a pose, be like this in a pose. My husband, who was my boyfriend at the time, he was like, we should start our own studio. Okay. We got a lot of criticism in the beginning. We still do, that it's like this trendy place that's trying to be like sexy and cool. And like, that's a byproduct of the environment, but that's not really what it is. This was like, honestly, one of the biggest tests I've had as an adult with my mental health. Look at your leases. March 12th, 2020, we opened our 15th location.
Literally the time of
We
COVID.
shut it down 3 days later.
Wow.
Yeah.
I want to start with telling everybody what Y7 is.
Sure.
I mean, obviously it's my favorite studio. I go to the Silver Lake location and it's just the best workout ever. But for the group, for people who don't know, what is Y7?
So Y7 is sweat dripping, beat bumping, candlelit yoga. For a little elevator pitch, and now Sculpt. But I started the company in 2013. It was off the heels of an injury. It pinched my sciatic nerve and I couldn't do, my like spin classes. I couldn't really go to the gym. I couldn't do kind of the high impact stuff that I was doing. I was talking to my doctor and he was like, it's really yoga or Pilates for you. And I was like, okay.
And you didn't do yoga at that point?
No, not really.
Yeah.
I had done a couple times, but I'm always going a mile a minute. So I always found it really hard to connect with yoga. And I am someone who, if you tell me to not touch that thing, I'm like, why? And I like want to touch it. Or I want to like, tell me to quiet my mind. And I'm like, oh, I'm trying so hard. And then I get mad at myself for not doing the thing. And so I'd always had a hard time connecting with it.
Yeah.
But now I was really being forced to, right? So that really led to me trying literally every studio I could throughout the city. Yeah, throughout New York. Honestly, I left every class I took feeling worse about myself than I did when I walked in. It was a lot of comparison. It was always a brightly, beautifully lit studio. Like, these studios were beautiful. Like, the teachers were super talented, but it was a lot of like what I should look like. Look like this in a pose, be like this in a pose. Look at this person who's doing the pose this way. You should look like that. A lot of looking in the mirror at myself and like, I'm never going to have a six pack. Not because like I can't, just because like it doesn't matter that much to me. But, when I was in these spaces, I really felt like the only thing I was thinking about while I was in this class was what I looked like and how I was not stacking up to the people around me, or how I was disappointed in myself. That's not what yoga is. Like, that is the complete antithesis of what yoga is and what it stands for as a practice. It's called a practice because your body's different every day. It's not, you're not supposed to be perfect. Yes, you're working towards these asana, these poses, but you and I are always going to look different in a pose because our anatomy is different. The way we're built is different. We shouldn't look the same. We should be in that pose as much as we can for our own bodies and where we're at, right? After kind of like a lot of frustration, just like really like, I don't understand why it's like this. My husband, who was my boyfriend at the time, is my co-founder, but he is like this crazy, like beautiful, like entrepreneurial mind. And he was like, we should start our own studio. And I was like, okay. He's like, no. He's like, it's fine. I was like, all right.
And what were y'all doing at the time? Like,
I was working in fashion.
Okay.
I was a fashion girly. And I was in the garment district every day. 38th and 7th, baby. And he was in digital ad sales. And
so it's quite a leap.
Yeah. And he was actually someone who had a way more dedicated yoga practice than I did. Like, he would do Bikram, like all these things. So basically we started the studio as a pop-up. We put ads up for yoga instructors on Craigslist. We auditioned them in kind of the style that we wanted them to teach, which was really like a little bit more like an open flow, like vinyasa class, and like with music at the forefront. And that's how the studio was born.
So the differentiator was like music and basically being dark?
The heat, the darkness, the no mirrors. No one at the time had no mirrors.
Yeah.
Like, that to a lot of people was really insane that we did that. And really it was like, well, we should be focusing on what we feel like in a pose, not what we look like, right? Like, how do you feel in that
That's
pose?
distracting.
That to me was like, I like the idea of no mirrors, because it's also like, if you're everyone's always like, no one's perfectly symmetrical. So you're looking one side, like you don't know. I just told you before, like I never think I have as severe as a side part as I do when I see myself on camera. And I do. I in fact do have a millennial side part.
Same.
It's like,
we're changing that after this episode.
God damn it. But that's how I7 was born. So the darkness, the candlelight, the no mirrors, the heat, the music was all intentional. I think we got a lot of criticism in the beginning. We still do, that it's like this trendy place that's trying to be like sexy and cool. And like, that's a byproduct of the environment, but that's not really what it is.
Any good product will get criticism, for some reason.
And what I really wanted to do was create this space where you still got this really amazing energy of a group fitness class, but you got the privacy and the autonomy to explore poses, to go deeper into something, to take a rest if you want. Like I say this all the time, hands down, my favorite thing at Y7 that happens in class is that if a teacher cues for a balance or like handstand hops or like, crow or something like that, you just hear thuds in the room because every single person is trying.
I love that.
And that's not something I ever experienced in a class before because everyone was a little scared of judgment. Like, who's watching? Or like, what if I fall? I'm not good enough. And at Y7, everyone's in there. It doesn't matter like how good you are at yoga, how new you are to it, what your level is, what you look like. Everyone is in there just dripping sweat with their shirts off, giving it everything they have. And like, they're having a really good time.
That's what's crazy, that you got criticism. I actually remember this, some sort of criticism about the hip hop. Let's talk about that actually.
Yeah.
But basically, it's weird that, because I feel like that is what yoga is, what you're describing, like the sweatiness, the feeling like your own body. Like, so that's crazy you got criticized. Tell me about that little moment of cancel culture type thing.
And it was, there was a lot of noise at that time. And, we have always done a ton of theme classes. And what our clients wanted most was the hip hop themes. And so when that criticism really got brought up, and there was a lot of it that came from people who were not involved in the organization.
And what they say, like, this is
just like, it's not yoga, it's appropriating culture. And like,
appropriating culture.
Yeah, and like I'm able to hear all of that. I think one of the things that we do as a society is we want to protect our egos so badly that we can't hear any criticism. So when I sat down and actually talked to my team and the people who were doing these classes and like teaching them, it was, if it feels authentic to you. And a lot of my instructors were like, I work here because like this is the music I listen to in my culture and this is the music I want to play, and there's never been a space for that, and especially in Western yoga where it's traditionally like a very stereotypical kind of teacher that you see. And I'm very proud of the fact that like we opened a lot of doors for instructors to feel comfortable to bring pieces of their culture into the practice. And another bit we heard was that when we were choosing artists, and I had a team of instructors who were choosing the artists for like the week. And what we heard was that some instructors were like, it doesn't feel authentic for me to play someone that, an artist that I don't listen to in my life. And guess what? That's fair. So we don't have to do it. And like you guys can pick your own theme classes. And if you want to do a hip hop theme or a hip hop artist, amazing, because that music resonates with you. And it's authentic to you and what you listen to and who you are as a person. And if it's not, and you want to do, a Taylor Swift theme, amazing. I also love that.
I want to go to that class too.
It's so fun. And it's always been about being music driven. And it's never just been about one thing. So that was a moment that was obviously like really challenging. And, we're never going to please everybody.
How did you respond to it?
Well, at the time I had just given birth.
Oh God, even more stressful.
Yeah, I had a June 2020 baby.
Oh.
So
I was like pregnant.
It was a lot of, I also learned in that time that not everything should be an immediate response. That I am allowed to take space and respond from my heart as opposed to responding because people are demanding a reaction or response.
Yeah, so, that's your boundary. You can
and that was
respond
something that was like, I was so overwhelmed. I was so like, I was feeling so responsible. This is, a brand that like I created, and like also like wasn't just me who created it. I've always been surrounded by amazing instructors, an amazing team, and I felt a lot of responsibility to respond for everybody. And this was like a big test. This was like honestly one of the biggest tests that I've had as an adult with like my mental health and like setting a real boundary where I was like, I'm off limits right now. I just had a kid. I'm off limits.
Good.
I was not taking a salary from the like I was like, I have to just, we need a beat. And, you know, that was a time for me to go inwards and speak with my team, like the people who worked for me, the people who, you know, are teaching at the studio, who were a part of the brand conversations. Like that was a time for me to talk to them. And and it's still one of our core values as a company today, which is bump your headphones. It's a lot of like, at a certain point, you have to ignore some of the noise, right? And stay focused on, you know, the voices and the people on my team who could be real, like either change makers if we weren't doing something the best. There was a better way. That has always been like, I don't pretend to know how to do everything right. If there's a better way and someone has a suggestion, tell me.
That's a great leader.
Like, we can try that. Like, I do not think I know best. There are some things I do know best because I've been doing them for a long time and I've tried other ways and gone back. Like I've had a lot of experience, but at the end of the day, it's always like a conversation for me. And, you know, a teachable moment of like, what can I learn here from this? So it was really challenging, but, you know, I think that it opened a doorway for a lot of conversations and it created a space where I could hear from my team about like what didn't resonate with them as the teachers too, right? Like they're the ones teaching the class. Like that was important to me, you know, and I've never ever thought that we were just like one thing. That was just like the thing that the clients wanted. And so we were like, cool, great.
If you've ever thought about starting a company or you're already in it and figuring things out as you go, I wrote Bootstrap Empire for you. It's the real story of how we built Bala from a scrappy side hustle into a global brand without a traditional playbook or unlimited capital. This book has the lessons and advice I wish I had from day one. Think of it as your mentor in a book format. Bootstrap Empire is out now and available on Amazon, Walmart, Target, Barnes & Noble, and more. If you're building something from scratch, this one's for you. Visit bootstrap-empire.com to learn more. So ultimately, did you change anything about your communication or anything like that because of it?
I think a lot of the press had labeled us as like a hip hop yoga studio. Cool. I never came out and said that was never a cornerstone of the business. That was like, you can go back to the, you know, 12 years now of history we have on Mind Body. Like we've always done many themed classes. Of various genres, and that was just the thing that people wanted on a regular basis that we got asked for a lot.
I agree. Yoga and hip hop, that's what I want.
I mean, the beat, it just lends itself so well to the vinyasa style, and it's fun. It's such like, it's amazing. It's amazing music, amazing artists, and so, you know, we really changed a lot of our messaging to make it more clear that like we're a music driven studio. Like we are a music driven studio. You know, I'm not none of my instructors ever did play hip hop in the very beginning of class or in Shavasana. Like there's so much room for amazing artists and genres of music. So that was a lot of what we did in terms of that. But, you know, and now instead of choosing, you know, having the team choose an artist for, you know, that we were highlighting every week, it was a lot of, you know, our teachers submit theme classes that they want to do for the month and that feels authentic to them. That's the most important thing to me too, is like, that's important that you're connected to the music that you're playing, right? You're connected to the sequence that you're playing.
Feel the energy in the room.
Right. And like, that's also why there's a lot of studios that program for their instructors. We don't do that. Like my instructors do their own sequencing. They make their own playlists. Like we have, you know, a bank of library if they're like, just like they have too much going on and they're like, I just want to pull from one. Like there's a bank of that stuff. But otherwise, I really wanted to feel authentic to who they are. And so that was, at the end of the day, like that was super important to me. And like also respecting like every voice that I was hearing on my team.
Yeah, I mean, for all the, you know, haters, there's the people that love it and the avid fans, you know, so you got to just stay in the course. Okay, so back to the story where you were literally in fashion and you started with just a pop-up, but did you quit your job at that point?
No,
like what happened from then?
So it was a pop-up, and it was a pop-up for like a month. And at the end of the month, I had and it was like free.
Oh, I was gonna say, did you make money? Was it profitable?
No, it was like free. Like we obviously paid the instructors. It was like donation based, and we all, you know.
But to test the market was
it was. Okay. And it was just something fun that we didn't, there was nothing supposed to be beyond that, right?
Yeah.
So at the end of that month, we had a client and a girl who had been coming like, you know, both weekend days, every weekend. She was like, so how can I buy a membership? And I was like, let me get back to you. I was like, can you just drop your email? Like, just write your email down. And so I like, you know, I went back to our apartment that night and I was talking to Mason and he was like, well, we could find a space. This is why like and this was 2013.
And so, were you an instructor at this point?
No.
Okay.
So I was the client. I've always been the client.
Yeah.
So, and I've always kind of like stayed on that side of the business too. But we basically like found this space that was month to month. It was 300 square feet and it was in Williamsburg in Brooklyn. And we were like, cool. It was like $1,000 a month all in, like electric, like all this stuff. We're like, it's amazing.
No build out or anything?
No,
okay,
yeah,
because you're just like, okay.
All we had was like the logo and we knew we wanted it dark and candlelit. Like that was it. Like we didn't have a website.
But it was called Y7?
Yeah, it was always Y7 Studio. Yeah. So we did that. The room fit 8 people. You could squeeze 10 into there. It wasn't great. So like it was like 8 people. It kind of just snowballed from there. Mason and I both worked our full-time jobs and we did so. And our days were crazy. It was like our first class, we had 4 classes a day. It was 7 a.m., 8:15 a.m., 7 p.m., 8:15 p.m.
But you guys didn't necessarily have to be there much because presumably we were. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. We checked people in.
Yeah.
Like,
oh, wow.
Yeah. Okay. One of us would book it from work at like 6 p.m. Like work end at 6. I was like, gotta go on the subway, like running to the studio, unlocking the studio, like setting it up. And that's really how it started. And it just kind of snowballed from there. 2 years in, we had just opened Flatiron.
So this is your second location?
Third.
Third. Okay.
So we were
2 years in, you were already on third.
Yeah, we were at 3. So we went in. There's this amazing cycling studio in Lower Manhattan on Lafayette called the Monster Cycle. And they were ground floor and basement. And they had tried to run yoga on the ground floor, but it just like, they were cycling people. They were Y7 clients. They were like, hey, like, do you want to come in and like sublet like the yoga room? I was like, great. Like we had it was probably the easiest way to get into Manhattan.
Yeah, like so
like we didn't do anything. Like all we did was we literally painted the mirrors black with like paint that could be removed off the mirrors, got heaters, and we shared a front desk.
So it was always hot yoga too.
Yeah,
right? Okay.
It was always heated.
But even just getting heaters and not that's like seems very scrappy.
Yeah. And that was kind of it. And that's how we got into Manhattan.
Wow.
Yeah. So then our first real space that we like really built out was Flatiron.
When did you have investment at this point? Mm-mm. Okay, so you opened 3 locations without investment. That is unheard of.
We had opened Flatiron and I was still working. At this point we had like, you know, like studio staff, like hourly studio staff was helping and things like that. And I was managing all the, like we were together managing like all of the staff at the studios. But I was checking in some girl and she like looked at me. I don't even remember what studio I was at, honestly. And she was like checking and she was like, man, she's like, they really work you hard here, huh? And I was like, what? She was like, I just see you like at every single location. And I was like, oh, I was like, no. I was like, I was like, yes. And then
she didn't know you were the owner?
No, she didn't know. And at that point I was like, maybe I should quit.
Did you tell her?
Yeah, I told her. I was like, oh no. I was like, I'm the owner. Like I'm just, she was like,
how did she not know that? That's so amazing. That just means like you're so like humble and I love that.
At that point it wasn't like, I don't know. It was just like really funny. And I was like, so
they work
confused.
you hard. They still do work you hard.
Man, they work you hard here. And I was like, but it was like
hilarious.
but it was like such a sweet like comment of like, oh, you're here a lot. And like at a certain point it was like, I remember looking at Mason and being like, if this thing has a shot, because now this has turned into a business.
And you still had full-time jobs.
I still had a full-time job.
Okay.
This was March 2015.
Okay.
Yes, March 2015. And I was like, I think if we're going to see if this is going to be a thing and has a shot, like I have to quit my job. Mm-hmm. And he made more money than me. Mm-hmm. And I was on his health insurance. So I was like, that's an easy call.
Yeah.
Makes sense. So I quit my job at the end of March of 2015. And then Mason ended up quitting his in August of 2015. And in the next year, we ended up opening Union Square, West Hollywood, and Upper East Side.
Without funding.
Then we took on private equity firm at the end of 2016.
Yeah, but still, that's crazy to open that many without funding. Did you know that diapers are one of the most common things found in landfills? And most of them are basically plastic that takes over 400 years to break down. Most diapers are actually also bleached. I'm so happy I found the first and only unbleached diapers, Hiro, Hiro. No fragrances, no lotions, no dyes. These are the only thing you should be putting your baby in, truly. And they're so insanely soft, and they use this really cool fungi technology to break down the plastic once they're in landfills. You're insane if you're using any other diapers besides Hiro. Use code Natalie for a special offer, and you can visit herodiapers.com/Natalie.
Well, you know, like we were doing the founder thing, like we weren't taking salaries. We were doing anything. I didn't even have a studio manager until our 5th location.
So why did you decide to take on PE at that point?
It was really about, so we actually took on money in a really funny situation. So it was one of our instructors had reached out over email. She was like, hey, I don't know if this is crossing the line or not. She's like, but my boyfriend works in private equity and he's wondering if you guys are like thinking about fundraising or, you know, you would want to talk about it. Like, if this is weird, like, I totally get it, but like, can I introduce you guys? And we were like, okay, sure. So we took the meeting, and that was the one and only meeting we took for Capital.
That's amazing. So it didn't derail you from building. Yeah. So then at that point, you were building profitable locations, which is super attractive. Yeah. And how many studios did you ever get up to? Like, what was the most of studios you had?
Pains me to
I know we need to talk about COVID. Obviously,
we'll talk about the pandemic. But in the March 12th, 2020, we opened our 15th location, which was Chicago.
Literally the time of
we
COVID.
shut it down 3 days later.
Wow.
Yeah. So we had 15. We had 11 in the city, 2 in LA. One in Chicago, and we actually had one on the Nike campus.
And were they all just at this pre-COVID? Were they like bursting at the seams? Like every time you launched, it was magic.
Yeah. We also in 2019 redid Flatiron, made a double floor studio, so we were able to get 2 studio rooms in Flatiron, take over the 3rd floor. So we have 2 floors in Flatiron.
Can you disclose how much money you did raise or no?
Yeah, so we raised, our initial round in 2016 was $5 million.
Okay.
They had options to put in.
It's not a crazy amount to start scaling.
No.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, what we're doing is interesting in terms of fitness, because a lot of times if there's machines involved, it's either the licensing or the financing of the equipment that's really like a big strain. And we were always really kind of tight with our build outs too, like really understanding what our clients needed and didn't need, and also strategic with that around where we were, like location wise. Like Union Square for us, we never had showers. We had like this weird single bathroom.
Yeah.
Like meatpacking, we didn't have showers.
Well, so it's like you were smart with that, but you didn't know
right,
that.
Like Bryant Park, we needed showers. Flatiron, like one of the biggest reasons we expanded because we needed showers. We needed showers there. You know, because those are areas where people are living and working and things like that. So that was, you know, our build out was very tight. And I also have always had like amazing people around me in terms of my team. So, you know, both of the women who I've worked with, like her name was Stephanie, who is on my team up until COVID. And then now Leslie, who I've had since 2021, are both so integral to how we looked at LOIs, how we looked at what we could afford. People? They're finance people.
Okay, finance.
So really understanding like what we needed the numbers to be to make this make sense, right? I had really good ops people. I had my head of people like from 2016. She was my first hire after we raised. Like Natalie is incredible, like just like really incredible people who understood the vision behind the business, what we were trying to do, and really enabled me to make the best decisions for the business.
And how many employees are you now?
We are, I think we're around 250.
250?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, you know, 90% of our team is part-time.
Yeah, and instructors,
and a lot
still,
of it, a lot of staff. COVID, we were a little over pre-COVID, we were a little over 300. Having those like key hires and really executives who like were just so amazing and really loved what we were doing as a business was, I mean, it was imperative to the growth of it.
So COVID hits, and I know I hate to go here because it's dark times, but COVID hits, you have 15 locations. Are you freaking out? I mean, you don't know how long it's going to last, but revenue stops immediately. So
revenue stops immediately. And I will tell you this, we would not have survived if I didn't have my CFO at the time, Stephanie, because she looked at me and she goes, so we were deciding, we were like, we have to make some kind of financial call here because the studios are shut. We have no revenue. So what we did, like a lot of companies were furloughing.
Yep.
We laid everybody off.
Okay.
The next day. What that enabled us to do, like everyone who was on the studio teams, we laid off immediately.
You had to.
What that enabled us to do was give everybody severance, and we got everybody on unemployment right away. So where a lot of people who were furloughed were kind of waiting, and then the the government, the systems were so backed up with unemployment, and it was really challenging to get, like we got everybody, and my people team was able to help get people on. They were there to assist, to help get people on. We gave every single person at the company got severance. Hourly employees, everybody. They got an average of their paycheck of the last 2 weeks for severance.
That is such a devastating thing to have to do. Did you have to hop on a Zoom and like let everyone go?
Yeah, it was devastating.
Were you like, this business is over?
We didn't know. We just didn't know. No one knew it was going to happen. But we were like, I mean, at the end of the day, we were shut for 18 months without $1 of revenue.
But you still had to pay leases and stuff. What else?
So we were mandated, since we were mandated closed by the government, we were not like an optional, like you can do takeout, like there's no takeout here.
Yeah.
We came to deals pretty quickly with our landlords where we were either adding time on the back end to our lease, so extending our lease beyond our term. And we also made some strategic closures. We had already paid all of our March rent to our landlords. I think we paid April to all of our landlords. And then it was like, okay, when this was like clearly not going to be a thing, we started really engaging in those conversations with landlords and being like, okay, like, we had a couple leases that were coming to term in early 21 and early 2022. A couple that we had always planned to relocate, not re-sign. So we made some strategic closures of like, we're going to term, this lease early, agreed on like a payment. And, we had also just, our private equity firm had, in their original investment, had 2 options written into the investment to invest an additional $2 million in 2018, which they did, and another investment in early 2020, which they did. So that 2020 investment of $2 million, that cash infusion, like saved us, because that's how we were able to get out of some leases, have the capital to at least be like, all right, like we'll see like what happens. Like, and that was the capital that allowed us to reopen.
And when did you reopen?
We didn't reopen until July of 2021.
Wow. So what were you doing during this time? Were you thinking of pivots? Were you?
We did start online.
Tough.
It's tough. And I'll tell you why. I think it's great for other things. For the Y7 brand specifically, I always had a hard time with it because our teachers are so thoughtful about how they're timing the music with the flow. Like we can't just do like a radio station of like a genre.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because if you're going breath to movement and you get like a slow song, it's
the whole premise is like in person, the energy.
And you're going through these like peaks and valleys of classes too, right? Like the energy is shifting and it's super challenging. And obviously like, what am I going to ship everyone a mini infrared heater? Yeah. Like, welcome to class, set your thermometer to 99 degrees
part of the
Fahrenheit.
beauty is the heated.
Yeah. That's where I like to go. And so it's super challenging. Like we were like, should we make these like at-home yoga kits? And it was like we didn't have the capital and it was tough. We did it because it was a way to reach our clients. Yep. It was also a way to like keep our team engaged too, in terms of staff and teachers. So, and I think we always knew we were going to reopen, like the world would open up. It was just a matter of when and how are we, one, conserving cash as much as possible, and also still trying to generate revenue. Like, how are we using this time, like, as smartly as we can? So a lot of this time, because we grew so fast, in the years since we opened, like, we didn't spend a lot of time on, like, refining systems and procedures and, like, all of that, right? It was really just, like, let's try this.
Yes. Same.
Let's try this. We'll see if it works, you know? And like, God bless my team, like my ops team at the time too. Like, so like, just like I will like always be grateful to that team that I had. And it was, so we really took that time too to like kind of relook at everything. Like, are we running this business the smartest way possible?
Yeah.
Are we running it in the most sustainable way possible? Mm-hmm. And it was really a check for us too of like, you know, we did a big rework on how we were compensating our instructors. So Y7 basically is one format. You know, we have two, we're basically like 60-40 right now, where 40% of the schedule is sculpt, 60% is yoga. But at that time, we were like 98% of my schedule was one class format, right? Like kind of a la Soul Cycle. You know, you're going to do arms, you're going to do a climb. Like, you know, it's pretty standard. So what we kind of found as we were like looking at this is, you know, we were on a base and a per head. And what we found is that, you know, the teachers who were teaching the most were actually making kind of the least amount of money, because we never took away like primetime slots from people. Like a lot of studios will rotate who they have, and, you know, you kind of have to keep your status or you get bumped out of like a 7 p.m. or things like that. Or, you know, people just change schedules. We never did that. So if you got a 7 p.m. spot when you were hired, it was like, unless you give it up, I'm not moving you. But those classes, regardless, are always going to be that's a peak class for us, right? It's like post-work in the city. It's always going to be full. Yeah. So, you know, then I had instructors who had that class forever who, you know, were making great money. But then I had some really talented teachers who were teaching like 10, 13 classes a week, but they were teaching the 9:30s, the noons, the 4:30s, like, and we're just not making as much money. And, you know, as we were going through what it looks like to, and we're asking everyone to do the same thing, right? Like, it's not like a level 3 kind of structure where you need to have 10 years of teaching experience and things like that. Like, it's a little bit different of a studio because people are, I would say 80% of our clients are coming for the class experience and not for someone specific. We've definitely seen that kind of ebb and flow. I think everyone has their favorites, but at Y7 we tend to see people have like 3 or 4 favorites as opposed to just one. Yeah. So, and we've seen how that, you know, and not to say this is like wrong, but like this celebritizing of instructors, you know, when you're a brand, that's tough. Can be a really tough place to sit because you want to keep, you know, there's only so many people you can fit into a room. Right. So it doesn't really become sustainable. And eventually, like, that person, that instructor outgrows, and then the business is left trying to fill that gap, which is super challenging. So it's definitely like a kind of a catch-22, and it's a difficult thing to balance. But when we were looking at that, and then the COVID restrictions came. Yeah. So all my classes were capped. And so it was like, okay, that's not great, right? In terms of like, you know, stability. And so we moved to a flat hourly rate. Yep. Since everyone has always been an employee, that kind of enabled us to, one, everyone earns like time off, everyone gets PTO, everyone gets paid sick, and every one of my instructors knows what they're taking home per paycheck. Yeah. So like if there's a big rainstorm or New York a snowstorm and they had a full class, but all of a sudden there's 2 people, it doesn't matter. Yeah, that's great. They know what they're taking home. They get compensated the same. So I, you know, as we kind of spoke to like our teaching team too, the leaders on our teaching team of like what's important, like that is important. Having the reliability of knowing what you're going to take home and knowing, you know, having a reliable paycheck, I think is super important. You know, we've had to do, and that's not standard in the industry. It's still like pretty like per head. But I've seen this happen to a lot of studios where they also get to a point where they're increasing everyone's per head, but they're not able to make more money. Yeah. But so, you know, the studio is only able to net so much because, again, you can only fit so many bodies in a room. Yeah, exactly. The economics are tough for sure. The economics are super challenging. Which is why scaling is important. But you still have 9 now. So you got through COVID. We did. And you have 9. So that's amazing. 9, yeah. And do you plan to like expand more, or are you like kind of chilling at 9 for a bit? We are. So at the end of 2024, we actually got acquired. And the acquisition really was about growth. And, we were at an equity ownership point of the studio where our private equity firm wasn't in a position to put in more capital to the business. They were kind of at their mandated ownership. And in order for us to grow, really we needed kind of to think strategically about what was going to happen. So the acquisition was really based around getting us set up for franchise. So that is really going to be the focused over.
When will that start?
Great question. I think hopefully in the next few months.
Presumably you're going to be scaling.
Yeah.
From there.
So, the plan is to really set the business up for franchise. Franchising is a complete
totally
beast.
Different business. Yeah.
It's a totally different business. It's a huge commitment. There is a lot of legal. It is regulated by, the government. So there's mountains of paperwork and legal things that have to be done to really set you up. Every state has different regulations. So you're really, setting up all of this paperwork for the entire country. And then you can do it globally. So there's global legal implications for it. So it does take quite a bit of time and investment to get a business set up for franchise.
I mean, but I'm sure you already have people that are wanting to franchise and hit and you've only kept it to specific markets. So I feel like there's so much opportunity there, which is cool. And we've
always really been interested in doing it. Again, it was one of those things where we were growing so fast previously where it was really okay, how much are we wanting to invest in a franchise team? Because that's really what it is.
You need dedicated
you
support.
need some killer salespeople. You need the person who's identifying if a person is would be a good franchise owner, or franchisee. And it's really there's a lot of work that goes into it. So it seems easy. The companies who have really nailed it have nailed it. If you want to franchise a restaurant or something, they're pretty amazing to do, but it's a lot of work to get there.
So we definitely have some listeners that have studios, whether it's one or a few. Give us the quick, what's your advice if somebody was just starting a studio? Because there is so much growth to be had right now with Pilates, yoga studios. It's still happening and it's growing still. I've seen the numbers. And so just give us some advice if you're just starting a studio.
I would say just stay really, really focused on your vision. I think there can be a lot of noise and there's a lot of trend in the wellness space. And, I think especially us as owners and founders, we listen a lot and we want to please everybody and make everybody feel happy in the space and want to keep coming there. And you can't please everybody. And just know that, you started a studio for a reason. You had a vision behind it. You had intent behind it. And I think it's really, really important not to lose sight of that.
I love that. And what about something not to do, a mistake you made or?
Oh, I would say really look at your leases. Look at your leases.
Have someone else look at them.
Have someone, maybe not you personally.
Yeah, but definitely look at them.
I certainly shouldn't be the one looking at my leases.
I should not look at my leases.
I mean, I know the things, but I will say that it is a heavy cost. It's a heavy cost. Make sure you're doing your due diligence. Make sure you're getting your geos, your demos. You understand the market you're in. It is so important because you'll see a space that's 90% perfect. And you're this is the one. And, everyone is getting pressured to sign. And I just, for me, it's sorry, I have to.
Yeah, take your time. Look at the leases.
Take your time. Look at the leases. Really make sure that this is a spot and that you're looking at till the very end. Even if you're in an LOI and they sneak something in there and you don't have to sign it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can.
There will always be another space.
There will always be other spaces. And I think that's something I learned too. Because it was when you're so eager to expand and you're excited and there's so much opportunity, you're I got so far and you spend so much time and there's so much back and forth. You're I'm just going to sign it.
Yeah. And it's don't sign it.
Don't sign it. Take your time.
Okay, what about is there any tool specific to studio or business in general, tool you love, whether it's a social media tool, a back-end tool, anything, e-com, anything?
No
tool.
We're so straightforward because we're not doing a ton of we're not retail, really. So there's not a ton of inventory control on our side. And we're really inexperienced.
Yeah.
So I think that we, you know, it's trial and error for a lot of studios, I think, because there's all this like, one, how do you get a client in, right? Two, how are you getting them to come back? And that's something like a little puzzle that I've always felt like really interesting. Like we used to have, I can't even tell you how many different kinds of new client specials we had. So many. We had for a while, we never did a first class free. What we did was for a long time, we were 2-week unlimited and a month unlimited. Like the month unlimited was like 99. Okay. Yeah. The month was 99 and the 2-week was 45, which is a good deal. But I think we found that like it was hard to kind of hook a customer from those because they were such good deals that people didn't really take advantage of them.
Right.
Like, because you still got to get there, right? Yeah. Like you bought the thing, but you still got to go.
So what works the best? From all the trial and error of new client specials, what works the best?
The 3-class intro.
What's the price?
$59 or $65.
Okay, but that's like enough for somebody to feel like.
It's enough where it's a deal off of like our normal class price.
Yeah.
And it's enough, and it's actually a really great deal because we're, depending on market, we're anywhere between 32 and 35.
It gets them hooked. Okay, I love it.
So here's what we found at Y7. The first time you come, you're like, I don't know. I'm just here.
I'm just here.
And you're a little lost, right? Yeah. If you haven't been to Y7, there's a portion of class called Flow on Your Own. And it's where you're taught a flow. And then the third time you take it on your own. And people are like, what the fuck? Sorry, can I swear?
Sometimes
sorry.
You can.
Sorry. Okay. You know, sometimes people are like, what was that? Like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm like, I got to like, people are like, I don't know. They're like looking around. Like, I don't know if this is for me. And, you know, by the end of it, they're like, okay, like, I like it. And then the second time you're like, I know what I'm doing. And you're getting the hang of it. The third time,
you're hooked.
You're like, I've got this. Like, I fucking love it. I understand what I'm doing here. I can't wait to come back. And like, they're excited about it.
Yeah.
And that, because I think first class free, in boutique specifically,
you don't get hooked yet.
I don't think you're getting the right kind of client.
Right.
Because with any sort of fitness, it is consistency and repetition that is going to get you the results you want.
Yep.
It doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah.
You have to go consistently and do it. So I think first class free is tough.
Okay.
It seems appealing.
Yeah.
And in our, you know, if you're looking at a sales or marketing brain, you're like, that should work.
Yeah.
But I think when you're doing an experience, it's a little bit different.
Right.
And the second class, you're like,
all right, I like this. I want to come
You're
back.
like it. You like it.
Yeah.
But then you have to purchase again if it's only a 2-class. You have to remake that purchase and maybe you're not ready. With the 3-class pack, you already got the third purchase.
I think that's a perfect note to wrap up because we are at time. So give me your hot take.
My hot take is that I like coffee on an empty stomach. I love coffee. I'm getting energized. Sends me straight to the bathroom.
I also agree with that, which is crazy because we're like two like wellness founders.
I am regular. I feel healthy. I'm awake. I also drink water simultaneously, so like I don't feel dehydrated with it. But I get a lot of side eye and shame, and I drink my coffee black.
I think that's fine.
I think it's fine.
Better than the vanilla creamer.
A lot of people are very shocked. They're like, you drink black coffee.
What do they want you to put? Vanilla creamer like me?
I don't know. I like it black.
Sometimes I'll just like take one bite of an egg or like drink 1 cup of water and wait 20 minutes just to feel like I didn't do it on an empty stomach. But I like coffee on an empty stomach
I like coffee on an empty stomach.
Yeah.
That's like ritual. That's like ritual for me. Yeah, get me moving.
Okay, perfect note to end on. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.